Alright everyone, well today I had trouble in the park. This is a day that I've been waiting to come. Now that it's here, it was actually a lot more pleasant than I expected it to be, so that's a positive. But ever since I started putting these gardens in, I wondered, what was the park going to say about it? Were they going to have any issues with me building all these pallet beds and these little greenhouses and whatnot? Well, today the park maintenance guy came by and knocked on the door, and he started off saying nice work on the garden, so that was a positive, a step in the right direction anyway. But he said that some of the beds are too close to the gas meter and the electric meter. And realistically, yeah, I'd say he probably has a pretty fair point. I mean, there's a gas meter right there, and there's a bed. And another bed, and see the electric meter back there. So yeah, I guess I can see where he's coming from. He said if they had to come in and do any work, they'd tear all this up, which I mean, I knew. I've just been hoping they wouldn't come in to do any work anytime soon. So basically he said I could do it, like I could move them at my convenience. Didn't make it sound like a real hurried thing, but I figure I should try to get some progress on this pretty soon here. I did come up with a game plan, but also this episode illustrates a couple of the problems of certainly trailer park homesteading and really suburban homesteading in general. And the first of those is the problem of space. I mean, it is hard to produce a lot of food when you have a very small little postage stamp sized lot. And when you're running into utility lines and utility meters, that just reduces the space that you're able to use for a lot of projects that you might want to do. And then the other problem is just having a park management or homeowners association or anything like that, and that's something that there's not a whole lot you can do. I figure the best approach is to try to work with people as best you can and come to some sort of compromise. So I do have a compromise for this situation. Let me get this turned around and I'll tell you my game plan. Okay, so the cold frame and the carrot bed are the two beds that are closest to the meters. I figured they're the ones that are the most common. And especially the carrot bed, I mean, yeah, I did put that too close to the meters. That's a justifiable concern there. That's also going to be a hell of a pain to move. I have already put some thought into moving the beds, but the only way I figure I can do it is at the end of the season, and is to take all of the soil out and potentially take the beds apart into sections and then move them. So I guess I'm going to have to do that with the carrot bed while there are carrots growing in it. That's going to be a challenge, and honestly I'm expecting that I'm going to kill off my carrot crop in this project. So that's unfortunate. I'm not very happy about that, but if it's what I have to do in order to keep the peace, I do have some other carrots planted in another bed, so we'll make do. A good thing about, since I did set this bed up as a season extender bed, once I get it moved, I should be able to get a late crop planted in it, and then I'll be able to stretch it out into the fall. I am going to try to transplant these carrots. These ones, the ones from the hydroponic place, they're a lot smaller yet. I think I'll have better luck, if any, with these ones. The three that I started, they're coming along real nicely now. I mean, they're 3 or 4 inches tall now. I'm probably going to kill those ones in the course of doing this. I'm going to try not to, but I've just kind of accepted that, resigned to it, and whatever survives is a positive at this point. So I'll take those out, set them aside, and then I'll have to take the soil out. I'll probably have to take all the logs that I put in there for the hugelkultur. I have to take all that out. And then I'll have to move the bed over around to the side of the trailer on the other side of the shed there. He did say that would be a fine place to have them over there. I told him that I stuck them all back here so they wouldn't be an eyesore for the neighbors, but I guess he said that would be that'd be all right over there. So I'll put it over there in the corner by the mudroom. I may have to take it apart into sections in order to actually get it over there. I'm not sure, but that's my plan for this one. However, before I dive into this one, because this is going to be a more difficult project, I figure I'll take care of this one. This one should actually be pretty easy. I don't have any real valuable crops in here. This is just all stuff I planted from kitchen scraps. So I figure I'll try to transplant that celery again. There's a couple of the green onions that are starting to grow finally. So I'll try to transplant those ones. I'll compost the rest. And then I'll probably harvest the usual parts of the leeks and compost the rest of those. And then it'll just be the same process of emptying all the soil out, moving this one around the side of the house, and then putting soil back in it. Since this is another season extender bed, I should be able to get a crop sown in here. I was actually planning on putting some sweet potatoes in here. And considering how late it's getting before some of my slips are ready to plant, I think it's going to be real useful to be able to put the glass over the sweet potatoes in the fall. Alright, so that's my game plan for dealing with this issue with having to move the beds. I'm really hoping, we didn't get into too specific of a conversation earlier, but I'm really hoping that the other beds won't be an issue. And if they are, that I can delay having to move them until after harvest. The next closest bed is the garlic bed, so that'll actually be ready to harvest within no later than mid-July. So while I'd like to leave it where it is and put another crop in there, if I have to move it right after that harvest, that shouldn't be an issue. And then, my bench and my scrap wood pile and the composter, I figure that stuff is all easy enough to move. That can get moved whenever. So hopefully it'll be alright to stay where it is, and then if they do need to come in and do some work, I could just move that stuff. And if it does need to get moved, well, I can, that won't be a problem to do later. So that's how I'm going to approach this situation. But it does show some of the challenges of trying to be as resilient and sustainable as you can on such a small piece of property, especially when you have a higher authority that you need to answer to in regard to your housing situation, like a park manager or a homeowner association or something of that sort. Like I said earlier, I think you need to, it's best to try to find compromise and to be adaptable. And so that's what I'm doing here, is I'm, being adaptable and trying to make the best of this situation. One of these beds, it's not really going to be that much trouble to move, that much problem, because there's not much in it. The other bed, there's a good chance I'm going to lose that crop, and that's unfortunate, but at least it's only one crop, and I do have some of those vegetables planted elsewhere, which is an illustration of redundancy, which I think is another important concept, is just having redundant systems, so that way when your plan A fails, there's always a plan B. So I do have a plan B for carrots. Not as many. They'll be a little bit later, but at least we'll have something. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, see you around the Trailer Park Homestead.